Hi, in this episode I'll be talking to Mike Bolton, the shark diver, better known as the Silent Hunter. Over a brew we chat about Mike's work as a cinematographer, diving outside of the cage with some awesomely scary sharks. And to add some context to some of the conversation, this is the second recording of this episode after some horrific sound issues we had in the first recording. So Mike was gracious enough to give me another opportunity to get his story, and he's a genuinely top bloke. Do you fancy a brew?
Are you there, bro?
Yeah, I am, mate. Hola, amigo.
Shoot, I tell you, I've been having hell with this thing all morning. I tell you, I don't know what's going on out here on this island.
Mate, it looks like you're having more fun than I am.
Oh my God. Can you hear me okay now?
Yeah, perfectly. Absolutely perfect.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry, man. That thing didn't work out for you. I don't know what's wrong with my computer, man. I don't know. I don't have any sound. I have no my mics don't work. You know, it's the only way to work is on Bluetooth.
Yeah.
But then when you use the Bluetooth, you got that echo, I guess, you know?
Yeah. Just blame the year 2020, mate. That's all it is. It's down to the year, innit?
Exactly. Everything's going wrong. I come out here, my boat's fucked up. I'm waiting for a piece to come for my boat today.
Oh,
Hopefully
no.
it'll get here.
Yeah.
My wife just spilled oil from the barbecue all over the floor. The drippings, the drippings that come under the barbecue.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was cleaning it and just the whole thing went out on the floor and it smells like shit. And my dogs are trying to lick it up. Oh, man. Oh my God, what a day. Starts out good.
Absolutely.
I'll talk slow, don't worry. When I'm not doing it, I talk fast, but I'll answer you slow.
All right, let's crack on. So Mike Bolton, also known as Silent Hunter, welcome again to the second opportunity to try and film this properly of the Fancy a Brew podcast. Thanks for coming on again.
Okay, Andy. Well, thank you very much for inviting me. I hope that this sound is much better and we can get on with hearing what I got to say.
Well, hopefully, mate, because I want to try and put it out this afternoon, so we'll get on with it. So do you want to give us a bit of an insight into who you are, in case anyone doesn't know, and then we'll get on with it?
All right. Well, as Andy mentioned, my name is Mike Bolton, known around as the Silent Hunter and on Instagram and just about everywhere. And I'm an underwater photographer. Basically, my passion is filming sharks, and I have filmed sharks all over the world. Basically, hammerheads, gray whites, of course, tigers, bulls, just about every major shark that you can mention. I have filmed, and I did several shoots for National Geographic and Discovery, and also Animal Planet. So, yeah, I'm pretty well blessed to have some of my stuff out there.
You're living in Panama now. How did you end up there?
Yeah, I live in Panama. Actually, I came to Panama when I was 17. I was just a young guy in the military. And I came to Panama, and I just fell in love with it. And I stayed here for almost 5 years, and then I re-enlisted and had to go abroad. And then I came back to Panama in 1968, and I have been here ever since. And I just love it.
What got you in the water?
Oh, well, actually, when I came here at 17 years old, well, first I'll go back a little bit. I grew up in Texas, so you can imagine. I used to watch TV way back in the 50s, if any of you guys can remember that, or go on your YouTube. And there was a guy called Mike Nelson, Sea Hunt.
Yeah.
It's an old. It was probably the first that had really underwater adventures. And I said, my God, man, I want to do this. And, all I was seeing was horse shit and cow shit in the pastures of West Texas. I never saw an ocean, but I said, man, that's my dream. I would love to do that. Well, not knowing that when I went in the military and came to Panama, I was down by the YMCA and it said there, scuba diving lessons. And I said, oh my God, this is what I got to do. And I went in there and joined in. This was 1959 with three other people. Imagine there
Yeah.
was nobody really interested in this kind of thing.
Yeah.
And there was three other guys and myself. And to make it go farther, I sort of became the first instructor from the YMCA in Panama.
Right.
But very basic, you're saying instructor in those days has nothing to do with the knowledge that is known
Yeah.
today through potty and all of this. I mean, I wouldn't even consider myself a master like some of these people.
Yeah.
But the first basic instructor. And yeah, and then I went on and that's how I started diving.
Cool. So what was your first encounter with a shark then? That made you
Well,
that made you actually want to make that your career?
yeah, well, when we started diving, just sort of explain it a little bit, is that the first things, you learn to dive here is to pick up a spear gun. There was nothing about photography or video or
Nice.
none of that happened back in those days. So it was like, hey, let's pick up a spear gun. And if you look around for the older divers like myself and older guys, they usually started spearfishing.
Right.
And so when I started spearfishing, I represented Panama internationally a few years later in spearfishing contests. But I used to see sharks all the time, and man, I was like afraid of them. I mean, geez, here comes the shark, because they would take our fish. I mean, we'd have big sharks come in and
Really?
take our fish from us and everything. And I sort of was like, and then I guess it was probably in the mid 70s, early 70s. I was working out on a remote island called Coiba. It's something like Cocos, but in Panama. It's a beautiful, beautiful virgin island of, it's just beautiful area. And I think at that time, nobody had ever really dove there. And it was sort of like a virgin area. And I was working out there, and I would work a half a day and dive a half a day. So I said to myself, why shoot fish? There's so much fish, I mean, it was like, this is crazy. There's something else. There's something else to do. And I ordered got it. It was the first Nikonis still camera. It was a 35 millimeter Nikonis 1, the old metal thing. I don't know if you remember. Yeah. And I started taking pictures. But that wasn't enough for me. I wanted video. I wanted to do something in video. So, I mean, it's a long story how I come across getting that camera.
Yeah.
Because that's another story itself. But I got this K100, Kodak K100, 16 millimeter wind up camera.
Yeah.
And I got an Al Giddings housing. And I was just, man, I was the happiest man in the world. I hear I'm going to film underwater. And I put that together. It was a wind-up camera that you put in a housing, and you would get like 3 minutes.
Really?
On that. That's it. 3 minutes of film they come in a roll of 16 millimeter film, and each roll was like, I think it was 3 minutes. If I'm not mistaken. I could be mistaken. But, looking back in the 70s. But I'm thinking it was like 3 minutes. And it was Ektachrome 86 or 68 Ektachrome. And you get these 3 minutes of this wind up film. It was crazy. But you couldn't develop it. You'd have to take those, send them into the States, have them edited or developed in the States, because here there was no place to develop it. No. So you'd wait to get these reels back, put them on a projector, and see 3 minutes of film. You would have 4 or 5 of these, and maybe you'd get like 30 seconds of something. No. It was crazy. And so that's how I got started. And I started shooting billfish, marlin and sailfish out on the island there all by myself. And you asked me how I got started. Well, then a magazine called Field and Stream and a TV program called ABC Wild World of Sports was just, they used to do stuff, and they saw this and they said, gosh, this guy's down there underwater with billfish. That's never been done before. And I said, yeah, man, no problem. So they hired me actually to do shoots for them, to do the underwater parts of billfish. Well, they did fishing, and so they would come down, do charter fishing, and then I would do the underwater stuff. So that's how I really got started.
Mate, that's such a far-flung thing from this 6-hour, 7-hour GoPros that we've got now, isn't it?
Oh my God! I tell you, these guys get spoiled. I mean, it's like, my God, everybody's into it now. You could just drop a GoPro. I mean, you don't have to get in the water; just drop the GoPro underwater, sort of pole, and say, "Look where I'm at."
Yeah.
It's like crazy. Yeah.
It is,
it's like, but yeah. That's how I got going.
So what about this first encounter with a shark then? What got you involved with them?
Oh yeah, well, I got underwater, and then I'd always see the sharks, and then all of a sudden I said, you know what? Let me start doing sharks, and I started filming a few sharks here and there out in Coib Island, and they weren't. I mean, I get some big tiger sharks and stuff.
Yeah.
But I guess my first beginning of filming sharks must have been. I really started really getting into sharks was in the 90s. Really 20 years later. Right. I just said, this is what I want to dedicate to, is doing sharks, And I was lucky to get to Guadalupe Island in 2006, I think was my first trip there, or 2004, something like that.
Yeah.
And I had been going every year to Guadalupe Island since then, doing 3 to 4 trips a year to Guadalupe for the last 15 or 16 years, whatever that is, and filming the great white.
Mm-hmm. So didn't you start off as a salvage hunter? Were you earning a bit of money doing that as well?
Yeah, well, the thing is, when you're start diving, like here in Panama, if you read your history about Panama, it's a known area for the Spaniards, and they would bring their galleons through here and sail from a place called Portobello on the Atlantic side of Panama to Havana, to Spain with their treasures, from gold and emeralds and precious stones from Colombia, and silver and wares, and also gold from Panama.
Right.
So a lot of shipwrecks. They would sink on reefs and so forth during the 1600s. And I would run into these wrecks. I would see them diving. I'm saying, look at all these cannons and stuff running around. And I started digging on them, because, hey, what, something to do. And but going back to the old days, in those days, it was like, oh, a coin. So what are you going to do with it? Oh, I don't know. It looks nice, and get this stuff. But there was no really market. Right. And then in the mid 70s, I guess the early 80s, is when the treasure market really started to open. And then I went back to some of my old ships and started salvaging a lot of goodies off of it. And I'm right now working on a shipwreck here in Panama called the San Jose, that she went down in 1631 on the Pacific coast. It's actually right out there. Yeah. Right out where you're looking. It's very close to where, behind my back. So seriously. And I brought in a lot of stuff off of her, and we have permits in Panama to work it, but they have shut us down because of UNESCO situations and everything. So we're looking to hopefully get started up again. But we did take a lot of stuff off of it. Unfortunately, one day you got to get on a video so I can show you some of the goodies.
Ace. Did you actually found any proper pirate ships or like treasure chests? You found any?
Oh yeah. Picking up right now over 55 chests off of this wreck.
I remember we were talking the other week, and you were saying how it was like on the Goonies, with skeleton hanging over the
Oh
chest
no,
with
yeah,
an eye patch and that still on it.
exactly. Everybody pictured, oh, you got a chest, and they figured this big chest with big metal bands on it,
Yeah.
and you were the guy with on the steering wheel of a skeleton, with his pirate hat. No, no. Actually, these chests are very small. They're actually, I guess they would probably be about 4 feet long, 2 feet high,
All right.
3 feet wide, and just like boxes, nailed shut.
Just literally teeming with like heavy metals and that kind of stuff.
Exactly, and then those things are all filled with the chest. And in those chests you have, or say, it depends on where the ship is coming from. It's coming from Peru on the Pacific, be loaded with silver, and these pieces of eight, the famous pieces of eight,
Yeah.
Yeah, the pieces of eight, you would have 2,500 pieces of eight per box,
Wow.
per chest. So it's a lot of pieces of eight.
Sounds like I'm in the wrong job, mate. I definitely need to
Yeah,
come and move
well,
over there.
there's a there's a good market for them. You have really good ones that are
Yeah.
expensive, the good coins, and then you have ones that are really eat up, which you have different grades.
Mm.
Uh, so you have the grade ones, twos, threes, fours, and fives. But that's basically what you sell, or silver coins off of Rex. Um, Gold coins, but gold coins are very expensive and can be $18,000 to $20,000 a coin, a piece
Jeez.
of eight. Yeah, yeah. Good piece of eight. Or not, it's not called a piece of eight. It's actually called an eight escudo.
Right.
But it's the same weight. It's 27 grams of pure gold.
Yeah.
And the markings, they don't get deteriorated underwater. They don't get eat up by salt water like silver.
Yeah.
So a good one will cost you 18,000. I mean, I saw some. I mean, I saw one go in a treasure auction from the 1700s for $33,000 just last week.
Right. So when I get off this, I'm not going having my dinner. I'm going to tell Mrs. Clark we're selling a house and we're coming over there and buying a boat.
Start digging treasure.
Start digging treasure, mate. I'm going to get myself a little parrot to sit on my shoulder.
Yeah, man. Why not?
I get
Bring
an
your
eye
parrot.
patch.
Bring your parrot with you.
Yeah. Oh, brilliant.
Yeah,
So,
it'd be nice to do a nice video one day on the post, and I could show you some of the treasures. People can see them.
oh, mate, that would be absolutely mega. I mean, I see this now. I mean, I know we're going to touch on it in a minute, but the trips that you run, they sound so interesting to me. And we talked on length about it last night. The fact that what we could gain from doing it and seeing it and coming out to do it. So, perfect time to talk about it. Tell us about these trips that you run then out to Guadalupe Island.
Yeah, Andy, we do this year actually because 2020 was canceled.
Yeah.
We had to back up and everything. We do around 4 trips a year. 2021, we're doing 3 trips. So we'll do 3 trips in 2021 into Guadalupe Island. I do 1 trip to 2 trips each year with Ocean Ramsey and Juan Oliphant, which are very famous people. Maybe your viewers know them. With me, she's a marine biologist, a shark whisperer, a tremendous young lady, which I've known for many, many years. And we do that trip once. We'll do 1 this year with her on 2021. We do, like I said, we do sometimes 2 to 3 with her. But this next year we'll do 1. And then we'll do only on myself. And I usually bring an extra guest or something. Yeah. And we'll take 12 people on a trip, 12 guests on a trip. These are 6-day trips out to Guadalupe Island on a liveaboard. It's 20 hours going, 20 hours coming. So we get 4 full days of diving with the great whites. And we do shark talks. We'll probably do some shark tagging. It's just an enormous, fabulous trip. I mean, people that we've taken, it's surprising the repetitive people that come back to us. We keep
Yeah.
taking the same people. It's a majestic trip. It's a majestic trip to be out on a liveaboard ship for 5 nights, 4 days of diving with these beautiful animals. And it's not to say you think we'll see them. Of course you see them. You see many a day, you know, I mean, up to 20, 30 different sharks a day.
Really?
Yeah.
I was talking to a lad the other day, actually, and he dove off South Africa with them. And there was, I think it was 2016 when they had the orca attacks, where the orcas were killing them off. Have you seen anything like that?
Yeah, they're dead though, huh?
It really surprised me that. I mean, I know that they can be quite ferocious, them orcas, but against the great white, I wouldn't have thought.
Oh yeah. That's the only predator enemy that the great white has besides man is the orca.
Yeah. What's can you tell me a little bit about the diving while we're out there then?
What we got there is that if you're a certified diver, of course, it's very, going outside of cages, the government stopped that. We used to take a few people out the cages up until 2014, and the government walked in and said, no more out of the cage diving for guests. And even us, we have to get permits each year to be able to get out of the cage. And to do this, we do this to say we have to recover repeaters that we use for our acoustic tags.
Yeah.
So we have to change the repeaters. So we get permits to get out of the cage. But even when we do this, the government don't let us film anything, which I think is absurd.
Yeah. Because
we do such good work sometimes of releasing sharks from hooks or ropes or whatever. We get in the water and do this, and it should be able to be filmed to show what we do. But they don't allow that. So anyway, what we do is for our guests, we take them down, or they can go down in submersible cages, which go to 40 feet, 45 feet. And that's just enormous. I mean, you're down there 40, 45 feet in a cage, but with sharks circling you. I mean, you would say, would I really want to be outside the cage anyway? Because, I mean, you're there. I mean, you could be by yourself. A lot of people, some people go, I mean, you're 4 days doing this, and the 12 people that we have, people go down on their own, or 2 people,
Yeah.
And actually, we do let the people get out of that cage and go up on top. I mean, we're not supposed to do that, but we let people go up on top of the cage and sit on top of it, and you're just sort of hooked around a chain.
Yeah. So you're not really away from it, free swimming, are you?
No, you're just sitting on top of it, but still you're out in the open, to get that feeling of being in the open with a great white. I mean, it's not really, I don't really like my people to do it unless we have one of us down there with them.
Yeah.
Because, a shark can hit the cage really hard and almost knock you off.
That's a nice segue into the fact that I know you've been hit really hard and nearly knocked off your feet.
And then we do have also the submersible, the cage. We have two more cages off of the stern of the boat.
Yeah.
And that's when you really get a lot of photography, is on the surface cages. The people are sitting there and get some really, really good, awesome pictures, and they will come up and just, hit the cage and grab it, and you get really sharks working between themselves, really close encounters. It's insane. And you can spay. I mean, since we have such a minimum amount of people with 3 cages, you can just stay in all day in any cage.
Yeah. Mate, I'd come out, my fingers would be dropping off, wouldn't they? They'd be all pruned up like I've been in the bath for too long. Be ace. Do you run them kind of like a workshop where you're sort of trying to develop people's understanding and knowledge of how to be in the water with sharks and how to photograph them? Is that one of the main ideas?
On the ship, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. At nights, we have workshops at night, and we always talk. We have a marine biologist on board as well, and he'll give talks. I'll give talks. If you're with Ocean, of course, she gives talks. And then we share pictures at night, and maybe somebody has something really, really special shot, so we can analyze it, or we all saw it, but we only got a couple of pictures.
Yeah.
Other people get to see it. We talk about it. If there's something special about the shark or a defective shark, we can talk about that. And then we have the workshop, and then we talk about photography. People like to learn, but they don't really know how,
Yeah.
And so they brought a camera, or they're doing their GoPros. And even the GoPros, I mean, the really good shots, it's just not turning on the bloody thing and pointing it, because the colors are bad, it's jumpy, it's jerky. So actually, to get really good stuff from a GoPro and then be able to edit it, we teach them that. And so our students come out with some really good stuff,
Yeah, sounds ace. So what cameras and what setup do you use now? I guess it's
I'm
proper
using
high-end
Sony
pro stuff, isn't it?
Yeah. I'm using a Sony A7R2. I'm using a Sony A7R3, and I'm using a Red.
So when we first spoke, I'd never heard of a Red, so I was like, right, I'm going looking into this because I didn't feel like I knew what you're on about. And then clearly, it's proper gear. That's what you do for a profession, isn't it? It's your living.
Exactly.
So it's high-end stuff. So sorry to interrupt this episode to drop another plug for my Patreon account, but I do spend several hours on each episode in the search for new guests, the recording, the post-production, the advertising, and sometimes days on my YouTube videos. So to help me keep up with its production and the frequency of releases, I'm asking for you to become a sponsor and Patreon of the Are You a Scuba Diver? Fancy a Brew podcast. When you become a supporter, not only will you have my undying appreciation for helping to support the podcast, but you'll be able to take advantage of some of the many tiered benefits that come with it, some of which includes official merchandise. If you'd like to become a patron, go to www.patreon.com/fanciabrew. There you'll see all the many levels of subscription and how to join the Fancy a Brew community. So without further ado, let's get back to this episode. If someone such as myself who is getting into the water more regularly, what sort of advice would you offer someone like me? So have you got any hints or tips you could give us?
Yeah, I would go into, which is a tremendous camera. There's called the Sony RX100 Mark IV. Go in there and look at it. It's a compact. It's under $1,000. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
And it's tremendous. I had one that I used to use. My wife used to use it, and I wish I hadn't. I wish I would have kept it. It shoots in 4K. I don't know if it's shooting at 60 frames a second now, but they do it at 30 frames per second in 4K and 60 at 1080p. Tremendous video work. Tremendous stuff. If you've seen some of my tiger shark stuff, there's a lot of that.
Yeah.
Shot with that RX100 Mark IV, and it's under $1,000.
Wow.
And you could get a housing you could spend $3,000 and get a good setup. I don't know if that's in your budget or not. But it's a tremendous camera, and I would be happy to, if anybody's interested, you just go in there, send me something, say, hey Mike, I got this budget, and I'll work out something for you.
Ace. What kind of lens would you buy for that? Does it have detachable and changeable lenses, or is it
no?
all one?
It's not. It doesn't have a lens. It's just a zoom lens. It's okay. It's point and shoot, or whatever you call those things. Yeah. Anyway, with the housing, you would use what we call. It's got a dome on it.
Yeah.
It's a wet dome. And it's the most fabulous naughty cam dome ever. And it's around $1,000. But it tremendously on that housing with that camera, man, you can get some awesome video.
Really?
Oh yeah. And for $3,000, the housing will cost you around $1,000. The camera. Actually you can buy some of these secondhand because a lot of people have upgraded.
Yeah. So
you can look, I think in Europe as well, to get secondhand naughty cam housings for these. So, like I said, if anybody's interested and they don't know how, I would definitely help them out.
Nice one, mate. You're a ledge. Tell us about these close encounters with a shark then, would you?
Oh, God. Yeah, I've had a few. But But like I said, I think I told you last time.
Yeah.
Mostly my fault when I do these things, not watching, not abiding by my rules that I teach.
Typical man,
But
then.
yeah. Well, I would think I told you about the tiger shark.
Yeah.
Eat my gun. I was spearfishing, but this was years ago, and I was spearfishing and was not. Was on my own, off of my mates, and big tiger shark come in and actually eat my gun, knocked me out of the water twice, and eat my gun and almost had me. I was able to get away because I actually eat my gun at the last minute.
Yeah. Lucky
Give me
that,
opportunity to get back to the boat. And just the other day, I was diving with a bunch of bull sharks, free diving, and there was just too many bulls around, and they were getting very, very excited and very curious and circling me. And I was free diving, and I was coming up for about a 60-foot dive, and one hit me in the back, just really smacked me in the back and hit me right in the kidneys, man, like boom, hit me really hard with his head and just came over me, right in front of me. And oof, as you say, you never want a shark to make body contact with you because that's how they really start feeding you, is hitting you, bumping you, to see if you're prey, to see if you're edible, if you resist. And the idea is when a shark does hit you or gets into you too close, is not to act like prey and act more like a predator to yourself. Be aggressive to him, get big, or go out, push him off, but never run from him or.
Sounds like a car crash. How hard is
Yeah,
it?
it could be that. It could be that.
Oh, flipping heck. Did you get grabbed? Didn't you get grabbed?
Yeah, I got grabbed the other day. I got hit in the leg. I got grabbed by the leg, not paying attention. And, I brought a little blood out. And that wasn't nice. But I've got the teeth marks to prove that.
Yeah. You got some good mates that got you back in, don't you?
Yeah. I got some guys to get me back in the boat, and it was cool. I mean, it wasn't. I was a little bit freaked out, but that's. I think that all of us have been in this business long enough, have been bit. There's a thing here being bit, and there's another one being attacked.
Yeah.
I mean, being bit is sticking your hand with a piece of fish in the shark's mouth.
Yeah,
you expect to be bit. Yeah. Being attacked is when they really come in and grab you and take a piece of meat or put the teeth in you. That's an attack. So, I was attacked. So, but I'm not paying attention. And I think the older you get, the more that you try to abide by these things. But again, this is just a few weeks ago when I got hit in the back. And, it's like in your inside of you, you know that something's going to happen. Yeah. Like I felt it. I was saying, this is getting out of control. And I was coming up and I went down again, and there was just too many bulls, they were really getting wound up. And with the great white, I know when to get out, and I don't take second chances with great whites. With great whites, I know when it's time to get out of the area. They'll let you know that, hey, this is territorial, or I'm tired of playing, or I'm not going to play at all, and you get out of the water, because they will let you know.
What would you say was the most, or gives you the fear factor? Which shark is the one that sort of gets the hairs on the back of your neck sort of stood up going, oh, I'm nervous of this one more than perhaps the others?
Yeah, well, that's not one shark. I think what gets you your hair on your neck stand up, and you get nervous is when that particular shark, any shark, gets under a condition.
Yeah. And
in that condition that he's in, or you found yourself in, that's when your hair stands up. Right. Because all of a sudden you realize that you're in a position, you're in an issue. Because I always tell people, when you go in the water with a shark, be prepared. And the 50 things that can go wrong, there will be 100 that could.
Yeah.
And so, it's not just that particular shark. It's just I mean, it could be a tiger, it could be a bull, or it could be a great white, or it could be an oceanic. All of a sudden, you find yourself in a situation. You say, "Oh shit, how did I get here?" And then you better know what you're doing, and you better have the knowledge of what to do.
I suppose the individuals, much like people, have their own personalities, but then within the different breeds, I suppose they all have different ways about doing business, don't they?
Yeah, yeah. Well, like I tell people, the sharks are like dogs. You know, you have German shepherds and you have poodles. You know,
Yeah.
or you have chihuahuas. You know, chihuahuas always making a lot of noise and bang, and biting at you. Yeah, and you have some of these little sharks like that too. That's always trying to bite your fin.
Yeah.
And bite you, basically little reef sharks and stuff. If there's a lot of bait around, or you've been spearfishing. But yeah, they're all different, and they all have their temperament. I mean, like a great white, we just don't jump in the water with a great white because we know a lot of the sharks, so we know. I mean, year after year, we see the same sharks. We know them; they're named. We know basically a lot of them. We know we can get in the water with, some that we can't get in the water with, or a shark just having a bad day, and you're not going to get in the water with it. You know, we analyze the great whites before we get in. And I think I was telling you the other day that we keep a cage down to 40 to 60 feet, usually around 40 feet, and we open the door and we go out. And we work with the sharks, filming or doing what we're doing, if we're tagging or doing biopsies, and then we will come back in the cage. But we have to check it out. We see if the shark's a player, or if he's not too aggressive, you know.
Yeah.
And they can be aggressive just for no reason, you know. Territorial. You know, there's something I should mention here. There's an idea about sharks. Is that I always try to do with bull sharks, for instance, is that I know that there's bull sharks around, but I won't just look for a place where there's a lot of bull sharks and get them, you know, swimming around and get in the water.
Yeah.
Because that's territorial. You're going to get in trouble. What you want to do is to get in the water and then try to bring them in with a flasher or bait or whatever you can bring the bull sharks in, because you know they're in that area. Bring them to you, because then you're already in the water.
I get you.
Okay, so they're not looking at you. Okay, well, they're not territorial because they're coming, so they feel that you're territory. So they're sort of like swimming around you, don't want to upset you. But if they're swimming around and you jump on them, they consider that their territory.
An invasion, yeah.
Exactly. So they come in on you and want to grab you and we're really aggressive with you.
Right.
So that's, you know, it's just little tricks of the trade, you know.
Yeah, it's fascinating. I mean, I can't wait to get out there next year. I really can't, because just these little things just fascinate me and make it more than just looking at something, isn't it? It's all the amount that you can learn about them.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's nothing like being on site, you know, and being with bull sharks or being with great whites. I mean, great whites are just it. I mean, they're the top of the apex. They're the apex. And once you see a great white, it's just like, I don't know, it gets hard to explain. You got to keep coming back.
There's nothing else to go looking for then. You've done.
Yeah, well, no, not true. I still enjoy them all, but
yeah,
I always look back to go back, you know, to the great whites. It's just something special, you know.
I've said this a few times to different people I've talked about sharks, is if you went out to the plains of Africa and there's lions cutting around in this sort of savannah there, you couldn't approach them in any way that you can approach a shark, or have them approach you as a shark would approach you in a safe manner, couldn't you? You're likely to just get
eat up. Yeah, but the thing
yeah.
is, you know, you're looking at a lion the same way. Is the same way. Now, what I've heard from other people. I was talking to one of my friends the other day, Forrest Galante, works with Animal Planet, and the same thing. You know, he works with a lot of wild animals, and also Dr. Evan. But if there's lions out, for instance, you're going to the bush and you see you're there, And if a shark, if the animal is not in your territory, in your space, let's say,
Yeah.
and he sees you, he usually won't approach you because he sees that you in your area, in your space.
Yeah.
And then you start moving in toward him. But if he's a lion is there, and you start going into him, that's his space.
Yeah, he's gonna kick off.
And he's gonna become very, very angry about that shit because that's his territory,
Yeah.
So again, that's just a few things that I have. It definitely works for sharks. I mean, on all types of sharks, bull sharks, tiger sharks. I know on great whites, we get in when they're there, but again, we check out their temperament before we do get in. Can they be aggressive to us and move out slowly? Because a great white can be very fast and very bold, and if he hits you, that's it.
Well, I was watching one of your videos yesterday, and it's crazy how quickly they're such a big animal, but how quickly they can turn, how sort of agile they are. It's just nuts. I wish my van could turn around. Yeah, I wish my van had a turning circle like they do.
I mean, you could be swimming right behind them, and they'll turn right on you.
Yeah.
It's that's something is that I would rather face a shark head on than tail.
Yeah.
Because they can't turn on you, get a feel of being approached by something, by a predator, or by whatever. They don't like it. And so I'd rather be facing them, and the situation of keeping your eye on them is always very important, to keep your eye contact on a great white all the time. Basically, any main predator is you turn your back on them if they're in close proximity of you, and you turn your back on them, and they will approach you.
No thanks.
From the back. They will come after you. I mean, we proved this just doing different documentaries and so forth. I'm saying, okay, turn your back. Guy's filming you, telling you to turn around at that moment, and you turn around, and he's right on you.
So what would you say is your greatest accomplishment, or your most notorious bit of work that you've done? Your most proudest achievement?
Oh my God, Jesus! I think actually I have to go back to the great whites of just showing so many people over the years the great whites and having them just fall in love with them, and people that have become shark ambassadors after that.
Yeah,
are working, and they have worked with sharks. I've become marine biologists and refer back to me of teaching them about sharks. I think that's what I'm so proud of.
Definitely. Through doing this podcast, speaking to people such as yourself, it's certainly influenced my interests.
Yeah. I've had people I've taken, I think I may have told you, I've taken people up to 13 years old up to Guadalupe Island.
Yeah.
That were just completely insane about wanting to know sharks. I'm not talking about bucket list people. Those aren't my people. I don't take bucket list people.
No.
We only take people that are really interested in great whites, people that want to continue to help show shark awareness and help save the sharks, the awareness, and teach other people, or marine biologists that are really interested in doing it. And I started with a girl 13. I think she's probably 18 now. And she went out to Hawaii, worked with Ocean, become a marine biologist. And now she's working, I think, with Maddie Stewart, research of sharks in South Africa.
Wow.
So look how far she went.
Yeah. I mean, I'm so envious when I look back at people like that, because I've just turned 40 now. I've missed all those opportunities. I'll not bore you with why, but I have missed them. If I went on a trip, something like yours, I think that would kickstart my life, taking a massive direction change to become that advocate, or to start doing more work in that field. Does that make sense?
I believe so, because many people have been like you, and they've been out there, and they've come back 2 to 3 times.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't have the money, but they wait 1 year after that, and come back and have to pay me payments, whatever, to get instead of having to pay all in one lump.
Yeah.
But yeah, you have people that do this and they go back and they start just doing. Like I had another friend from I think I mentioned to you, Chris Knight.
Yes, you did. Sorry, yeah, Chris Knight. Yeah.
Yeah, he's living in London and
Yeah.
he's a good friend. Night pictures or night photos.
Yeah.
And he just went crazy. He started a foundation. Anyway, he started out, with a shark thing of promoting
Yeah.
T-shirts and stuff, and a site about sharks. And he actually won an award of taking a picture of a great white's tail.
Yeah.
He won a photo award.
Not many people win awards from the tail end of a fish, do they? It's always from the
Yeah,
front.
yeah. I mean, he's Shark 10. He got his. I think it's on his page.
Yeah.
And yeah, you should give him a call. He's right there in London, right with you. Or chat him up. Say, hey, Mike Bolton sent it to me. And
I think I did. Last time.
yeah, he did a shot on. I think you got like a Today show there.
Yeah.
Or something. And
Yeah.
he came out live on that. And he actually showed some underwater video I had taken of him, or pictures.
Yeah.
And he's
Yeah.
a cool guy.
I have got him on. Yeah.
He's a sweetheart, man. He's a sweetheart.
Happy days. Well, Mike, honest to God, mate, I can't thank you enough for coming back on. I know it's another hour, but it'll be so worth it after I've edited it, because the sound on it was absolutely diabolical the other day. There wasn't much I could do.
Yeah, well, I hope it's better for you.
It is. I can hear you clear as day now. I'm actually nodding along with what you're saying rather than trying to look like I know what you're on about.
Yeah, I would have been too happy about that either. It's just people to turn it on and say, "Screw this."
Yeah, exactly.
I got to get my boat fixed. I got to go fix a hose on the boat.
Oh no.
Hopefully, the temperature gauge that runs it's a gauge that runs from your motor to your gauge.
Yeah.
And if that breaks, your engine will shut off.
Oh, that's not good.
So yeah, it cracked, and so I got to replace that hose this morning.
How long are you on the island for?
I don't know. I think I'll go back on the 7th.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be out here to the 7th, and it rained one day, no rain, rain. It's crazy, man.
Yeah. Is that your own? Is that your own place? Are you on vacation? What's the score?
Yeah. It's my place out here.
Nice.
I've been out on this island for over 25 years, 26 years.
All that gold.
So we have a house here and then one in Panama,
Yeah. It's all that gold you keep finding. You probably got about 10 houses.
Fuck. I gotta go out and can't talk too much. Maybe somebody hear it. But I don't want to.
Yes,
I
mate.
hear you say that. I'm out there. The pirates are loose.
Yeah, mate.
I mean, after Panama, Spain, the treasure hunters, the pirates.
Everyone wants a
I may get one coin, I got one right here, so I'm always wearing one.
Oh,
piece
mega.
of 8.
Nice. That's smart.
That's what you call piece of 8.
Right. They're not very round, are they?
No, they are is a piece of, they take a piece of silver,
Yeah.
the Spanish, and then they weigh it, which would be 26 grams, 26.7 grams. And they heat it, and they put it over a die, and they hit it. Bam.
Yeah.
And they come out. And so you never get 2 coins alike.
All right. That was
If you get 2 coins alike, it's a copy.
That's a dirty snide. Right then.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's... all right, man. Well...
Nice one. Once again, mate,
Andy,
I appreciate your time.
You let me good. Let me know you're a good mate.
Take it easy, Mike. Have a nice day.
All
Hope
right.
you fix your boat. Take it easy. Bye-bye.
Okay,
Thank
good,
you.
Good. Say hello to Mrs. Clark.
I will do. See you, buddy, and yours.
All
Nice
right,
one. Love you, mate. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
So that brings us to an end of episode 48 with my friend Mike Bolton. Links to all the things we discussed are in the podcast notes. You've been listening to Are You a Scuba Diver? Fancy a Brew podcast with me, Andy the Northern Diver. You can find more scuba related content on my YouTube channel. The link is in the podcast notes. If you've enjoyed this episode, please consider subscribing and leaving us a 5-star review. And to become a patron of the podcast, visit www.patreon.com/Fancy a Brew. There you'll be able to see the different levels of subscription and how to join the Fancy a Brew community. If there's someone or something you'd like us to discuss, please let us know via our Facebook page, Thanks for listening. See you on the next one.